We all need to know what it means to be honest. Honesty is more than not lying. It is truth-telling, truth-speaking, truth-living, and truth-loving.
Okay, Dad, tell us the story, where we're heading.
We're headed towards Bear Lake for the Cisco Disco. And these Cisco are little fish that if you can net them, you can deep fry them, and they're supposed to be good eating. But we've never gone to this because it's in the middle of the winter, but now we're going to it because they've turned it into an event. But I always remember Bear Lake because when I grew up, we had a lot up at Bear Lake, and Dad and Henning Hoj went together and bought a lot over by Lake Town, which is right on the prime area where the beach went out really nice and sloped easily, and you could wade way out. We used to have a ward outing there every year, and Dad and Henning would make the lot available for everyone in the ward to camp out, or some people would stay over at Ideal Beach and they'd all come over, and everyone that was in the ward would bring a boat and let all the kids water ski. And so it was a tremendous opportunity for all the kids in the ward, because most people in the ward, unless they had a boat, they never got to do that kind of stuff. And there was about 7 people in our ward that had boats, and everybody would bring their boat. Well, the way they got the lot was Dad was up there looking at lots because he was kind of interested in getting a lot right on the beach of Bear Lake, and he found one, and so he asked Henning Hoj, who lived in our neighborhood there, and this is the honesty story of Henning Hoj, how he had an engineering business, and everyone knew and understood that Henning will never cheat you. He's always honest. So they bought that lot for $9,000. So each person put in $4,500. But by the time many years had gone by, it was worth a lot of money, and it had appreciated a lot. But then Henning said to Dad, "Well, I'm using this lot all the time. Do you want to stay involved in it? What do you want to do?" And Dad said, "Why don't you just buy me out?" And he said, "Okay, I will." And so Dad said, "You just find out what it's worth and give me half, and I'm good, and that'll be fair. We'll be good. You just take it over." And then he said, "That'll be good. And if you ever want to come up and use it, then you can use it. Even though we own it, we'll whatever you want to do as far as usage." And so Dad said, "Okay." Henning paid him, found out what it was worth, and then he paid him. And about 6 months later, he came over to the house with a check and said, "Here's a check." And I can't remember how much it was, but it was quite a bit. And Dad said, "Well, what's this for?" And Henning said, "Well, I found out how much it was worth, and I was wrong. I quoted you an amount that it was worth more than that. So I think this is what it was really worth. Here's a check to make up the difference." And so he paid him the full amount, and it was just because he had found out that it was probably worth more than what he had thought that it was worth, and he paid Dad half on. And so when he found that out on his own, he just brought the money over and gave it to Dad. End of story. I think the Hoys still own that lot too. Their family likes using it.
In reality, we are only in competition with ourselves. Others can challenge and motivate us, but we must reach deep down into our souls and call forth our God-given intelligence and capabilities. We cannot do this when we depend on the efforts of someone else. Honesty is a principle, and we have our moral agency to determine how we will apply this principle. We have the agency to make choices, but ultimately we will be accountable for each choice we make. We may deceive others, but there is one we will never deceive. From the Book of Mormon we learn, "The keeper of the gate is the Holy One of Israel, and he employeth no servant there. And there is none other way save it be by the gate, for he cannot be deceived, for the Lord God is his name."